The sun was beginning to set over the vast African savanna, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. A scared and disoriented little girl ran through the trees and bushes, her small bare feet marking the dry earth. She was alone, having barely escaped her kidnappers, 7 cruel men who had beaten her and tried to force her to marry one of them. For an entire week, little Sarah was missing, lost in the vastness of the savanna, while her desperate family never stopped searching for her. Suddenly, she stumbled and fell, tearing her dress and scraping her knee. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she got up, her heart pounding uncontrollably. In the distance, a roar echoed across the savanna, deep and menacing. The girl froze, the sound of the lions approaching quickly. With no escape, she crouched behind a large bush, trying to control her ragged breathing. But the lions found her, their eyes shining in the twilight. One of them, the largest, approached slowly, sniffing the air. To her amazement, the lions did not attack her. And then the lion lay down beside her, as if protecting her. The other lions formed a circle around her, their huge bodies creating a living shield. Sarah couldn't believe what was happening. With wide eyes, she watched the majestic felines around her. They seemed to be communicating something among themselves, as if they had decided to protect her. The story of little Sarah, an 8-year-old girl, began tragically. She was kidnapped by a group of men while playing near her home, close to the savannah. Her family, desperate, mobilized the local community and authorities to search for her. Helicopters flew over the area, while rescue teams scoured the terrain. Her father, John, and her mother, Anna, were inconsolable, doing everything they could to help with the search. Sarah, held captive, waited for an opportunity to escape. That afternoon, she managed to free herself from her bonds while her captors were distracted. With her heart racing, she ran as fast as she could, guided by the instinct of survival. The heat of the sun punished her skin, and thirst tightened her throat, but the will to save herself was greater than any physical discomfort. The savannah, with its wild and untamed beauty, now became a labyrinth of uncertainties for Sarah. The tall vegetation and the sounds of the animals created a frightening scene for a child alone. As night began to fall, Sarah knew she needed to find a safe place to shelter. She remembered the stories her grandmother used to tell about the savannah, about the majestic animals and the dangers lurking in the dark. As Sarah walked, her thoughts went back to her parents. Are they looking for me? Do they know I'm alive? She wondered. At every noise, her heart raced, and she clung to the hope that somehow she would find her way back home. Her bare feet were covered in scratches, and she felt every pebble under her sensitive skin. The heat of the sun was relentless, and she could barely see through the tears and sweat. The lions that found her were part of a group known to the locals, led by a formidable lion named Mufasa. Their protective instincts were triggered by the girl's vulnerability. Throughout the night, Sarah could hear the sounds of the savannah, the distant cries of animals and the rustling of vegetation. But the lions remained by her side, creating a barrier of safety that made her feel, strangely, protected. Their presence was both frightening and comforting, as if they were silent guardians. On the 3rd day after the kidnapping, tension was palpable among those searching for Sarah. Her parents were exhausted, but a faint hope remained. Helicopters continued to fly over the region, and rescue teams expanded the search. An experienced tracker, an old man named Ndugu, who knew every inch of the savannah, found recent tracks. Small child's footprints mixed with lion paw prints. Ndugu, with his experience, knew these tracks could lead to something more. He alerted the rescue team, who began to follow the footprints. The trail led them to a dense area of the savannah, where the vegetation was thicker and wild animals more common. As they approached, the tension increased. The tracks indicated that Sarah was not alone but accompanied by large felines. The rescuers advanced cautiously, aware of the danger surrounding them. Suddenly, they heard a deep roar. The group stopped instantly. The team leader, Miguel, raised his hand, signaling everyone to be quiet. "Let's move forward slowly," he whispered. We don't want to scare the lions or the girl." In the distance, they saw something unexpected. Sarah was standing, surrounded by lions. The great lion Mufasa was beside her, like a protective guardian. The girl, though thin and tired, seemed calm in the presence of the lions. Her eyes, full of hope and fear, met Miguel's, who began to approach slowly, his hands raised in a gesture of peace. Mufasa roared again, but this time the roar seemed more like a warning. Sarah, recognizing the human voice, started calling for her mother. "Mom! Dad!" Her voice was weak but filled with determination, echoing through the savannah. Finally, the rescue team approached close enough to see the situation clearly. One of the members, a veterinarian who worked in the area, recognized Mufasa and knew of his reputation as a protector of his territory. Using his experience, he began to speak in a calm and gentle tone, trying to soothe the lions and the girl. "Easy, Mufasa, we just want to help," he said, his voice firm but gentle. With Sarah safe in the rescuer's arms, it seemed the ordeal was over. But the savannah is an unpredictable place. As the group began to retreat, a new danger emerged. The kidnappers, who had followed Sarah's trail and were desperate to recapture her. They emerged from the shadows, armed and determined. The rescuers found themselves in a delicate position, having to protect Sarah and themselves. The group leader quickly sent a message over the radio, calling for reinforcements. "We need immediate support. Kidnappers in sight." "They are armed," Miguel said urgently, his voice trembling with tension. Mufasa, sensing the new threat, rose to his full height. His eyes, glowing with determination, fixed on the kidnappers. The other lions followed his lead, forming a living barrier between the humans and the criminals. The kidnappers, seeing the lions, hesitated. One of them, driven by fear, fired a shot into the air, trying to scare the lions. The sound of the shot made the animals retreat momentarily. Sarah, frightened, clung even tighter to her rescuers. "We can't let them take Sarah back," Miguel whispered to his team. "Prepare for the worst." But Mufasa was not intimidated. With a deafening roar, he charged forward, followed by the other lions. The kidnappers retreated, firing random shots. Chaos took over the savannah, the sound of gunfire mixing with the lions' roars. The lions, agile and powerful, brought down one of the men, while the others fled in panic. The rescue team leader used the opportunity to quickly remove Sarah from the conflict area. "Let's go now. We don't have time to lose," Miguel shouted. As reinforcements arrived, the kidnappers were finally captured. The courage and protective instinct of Mufasa and his pride were crucial in defusing the situation. Sarah, now safe, was taken back to her parents, who were waiting anxiously. The reunion was moving. Her parents, in tears, embraced their daughter, thanking the rescuers and, silently, the lions who had unexpectedly saved their child. With Sarah safe in her family's arms, news of her rescue spread quickly. The story of the protective lions became a symbol of hope and courage. The media extensively covered the event, highlighting the incredible intervention of the animals. Sarah, still in shock but safe, was surrounded by the love of her community. The lions, especially Mufasa, became local heroes. Wildlife authorities used the opportunity to promote conservation and the importance of protecting these majestic animals. Documentaries were produced, showcasing the savannah, the lives of the lions, and Sarah's incredible story. Local schools used the story as an example of how nature can be both dangerous and protective. Sarah's story and the lions became a cautionary tale about the dangers of kidnapping, but also an inspiring narrative of survival and unexpected kindness. Sarah, now safe, slowly began to overcome the trauma. With the support of her family and community, she found strength in the memories of her feline protectors. "You were so brave, my daughter," her mother said, stroking her hair. "We are so proud of you." Sarah's story and the lions is a powerful reminder of the beauty and cruelty of the natural world. In moments of despair, kindness can come from the most unexpected places. The lions, symbols of strength and majesty, showed that nature has its own ways of protecting the vulnerable. May Mufasa's courage and protective instinct inspire us all to find strength in times of adversity and to believe that help can come from the most unexpected sources. This is a story of hope, resilience, and the incredible bond between humans and animals.